What an episode of Smackdown, brother. What an episode of Smackdown. We are going to get waist deep, neck deep in this. I had to upgrade it from waist to neck. We got to get real deep in this. Probably might tickle your earlobes a little bit. Chin deep, if you will. February the 2nd, 2022. We got to get some news and notes out of the way. But first, a mini rant. I am not turning my channel into the Vince McMahon show. That's just not going to happen. I see this happening to a lot of wrestling podcasts and all this kind of stuff. They want to toddle over every nook and cranny, every anonymous conversation, and this is what this person heard. I don't care about none of that. We need to get to the fact-finding part of this discussion. Enough of the speculation about who knew what and when they found out. None of that matters. I don't care about anonymous people within the company or anonymous stars who I'm not going to dare name, and we sit around here and speculate over who it could possibly be. I'm not doing that, right? To me, I care about the fact-finding element. Vince is under federal investigation. Okay, cool. That's good as far as I'm concerned, because at least now, all the people who are claiming he should go to jail, you should be glad there's a federal investigation. And if Vince thinks that he's innocent or he believes that he's innocent, he should welcome the federal investigation, because at least they're going to look into it. Now, up to this point, wrestling fans think everybody is absolutely and positively incompetent because you didn't see this coming or you didn't see this or whatever. TKO needs to throw out everybody. Look, they can do whatever they want. They own the company. Me, as a fan, either I'm going to watch it or I'm going to not watch it. I'm looking at the product, and I'm saying there's elements of it I don't like. There's elements of it that I do. But I'm not getting, that deep into the Vince McMahon stuff, because nothing new has occurred since the lawsuit, except the Johnny Ace element. That was new. And now the federal investigation, which, most people kind of figured is coming, because he was accused of sex trafficking, which is a crime. So that's gonna percolate, but all of these wrestling podcasts that are just turning into the Vince McMahon, every TV lawyer has something to say. We want to sit down and spend 3 hours talking about it. I'm not doing that. That's entirely too much off of a document that pretty much everybody who comes to this channel is either familiar with, had already read. Unless you can bring something new to it, there really is no point in talking about it every single day for 100 days straight. They're trying to keep it in the news. That's what's going on here. Because these legal issues, they drag out forever. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to nitpick it, and they're trying to do what's called a drip, which is a story happens and you break it down multiple times and keep doing the same story over and over again. They do it with interviews, by the way. Like an hour-long video interview will come out. They'll take a block here, do an article, take another block, do another article, take another block, do another article. That's what they're doing with this Vince McMahon thing. The damn document is 65 pages, right? They're gonna be clipping that thing forever. I'm not doing that. We're going to wait till there's some more facts that come out, or a fresh take, or something insane happens. Like, Johnny Ace wants to sing like a bird. That might be interesting. But other than that, I don't care about what individual wrestlers think, like, what Rob Van Dam thinks, or what, Kurt Angle or Eric Bischoff thinks. I mean, everybody is equally mortified at the situation. Who is not upset by it? Oh, I'm going to performatively be upset and write an entire 10-page screed on Twitter about it. Nobody's that upset about this thing. Come on. Let's chill. So I'm not going to turn this channel into the anti-Vince thing, but I will talk about Brock Lesnar being canceled. Because Brock Lesnar apparently has been removed from the Supercard game that they put together. There's some talk that he might not even be playable in WWE 2K, which would suck. There's talks of him being erased from history, which I don't know where that came from. A lot of his merchandise has been discounted at the WWE shop, and I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar, I'm pretty sure he might be aware of it now. I would imagine like it took a while for it to get to him, but it's been about a week, so maybe he knows now what's going on. Maybe when he wasn't called for the Royal Rumble, he kind of got an idea. But if you're TKO, you don't have to pay what were they paying Brock? $6 million or something like that? 8. You don't have to pay that. Oh well, that's thumbs up for you. You don't have to pay that exorbitant cost to bring Brock Lesnar in. You don't really need him. So, and then of course you're going to get The Rock. So that works out just fine for everybody. Brock isn't going to go to the poorhouse because he doesn't get to work with Dominic Mysterio in Australia, because some dorks online don't like that he might have maybe saw some pictures and nobody can prove that he did or didn't or whatever. Again, there's no evidence that the Brock Lesnar ever even met this woman. There's no evidence that they were even ever in the same room. But this is what I mean by the nitpicking and the lack of fact finding. People are just being really extra reactionary to this subject. And I don't want to get into that reactionary thing. I always found that to be one of the most embarrassing and boring elements of YouTube. Not just because, this is a Vince McMahon thing. You're a Vince McMahon guy. I kind of got bored with it when it's Star Wars, when it's Dungeons and Dragons, when it's people talking about woke TV shows and woke movies, and they get like something like the Ghostbusters in 2016, and now every single article and every single frame of everything must be micro-analyzed. It's like, when it's a big thing, okay, but over time, once you made me aware of it, maybe 1 or 2 more videos on it in a short amount of time. Outside of that, let's just revisit this later. We got to have something else to talk about. And the beautiful thing about pro wrestling is it keeps going. And because it keeps going, there's always fresh stuff to talk about, which means we have to talk about Smackdown. So we start the show with Logan Paul. Logan Paul says he underestimated Kevin Owens and that Kevin Owens did more damage to him than Floyd Mayweather and still lost. Then called himself the toughest man on this brittle roster and said he was unbreakable. Kevin Owens said that it was a moral victory for him, and it felt good to knock out Logan Paul, but now he's got to win the title and get it sanitized. Logan Paul refused to give him a rematch, says that Kevin Owens was set up and he got outsmarted. Kevin Owens says that he's not above cheating. Everybody knows that. We've been familiar with him for almost 10 years. He says, I got caught. That it was because of the referee. The referee is really good, but he doesn't need brass knuckles to beat Logan Paul. So Logan Paul told him to focus his energies on Austin Theory, who came to the ring and promptly lost to Kevin Owens. They did the gimmick with the brass knuckles again, where Logan Paul apparently is going to be the star, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to be his Goonie Goo Goos. If you don't understand what a Goonie Goo Goo is, you should listen to more Dipset. Anyway, Austin Theory went from being the hand-picked guy who probably should be, pushed as a top guy to this. I know every week I come out here and I say, like, poor Wardlow, poor Ricky Starks, poor Austin Theory. I mean, Jesus Christ. Look at what they're doing to this kid, man. Every week he's losing. He's looking stupid. It's ridiculous, man. Like, either send him back to NXT until, he's ready, or just fucking let him go. Like, what's the problem here? Why are we doing this to this fucking kid, man? And you know what? I'm extra pissed off. Because of the Tiffany Stratton thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we get there. But I was kind of pissy about that too. As a matter of fact, we're already there. Because after Logan Paul gave brass knuckles to Austin Theory and they got taken away from him, he got punched and knocked out by Kevin Owens. They were backstage and they did this on Twitter. Logan Paul met with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and they were backstage rubbing their jaws because, this is month 3 of them being knocked around by Kevin Owens, the 40-year-old father of 2, who probably drives a minivan and is built like a character from The Simpsons. In any event, He gives them some prime, which of course heals their jaw and gives them great energy. So now this is about to be a faction of Logan Paul, Grayson Waller, and Austin Theory. And look, on paper, I like it. But Austin Theory should be beyond this. It shows Chip Grayson Waller, if we're being honest. It feels like these guys are being handicapped. They're not being used to their full potential, you know? And it's unfair as far as I'm concerned. But Logan Paul is now hanging out with those guys. Okay, fine. So now we get a short vignette for Naomi. And Naomi comes and she is signed to SmackDown. She just comes out of Nick Aldis's office with a contract. Bianca Belair is there. Mia Yim is there. Who else? Shotzi was there. There's a bunch of people there. And they were celebrating Naomi's return. Tiffany Stratton then follows and says, "Where's my celebration? Why nobody's clapping for me? I'm the center of the universe." So then everybody just kind of looks at her like they've never seen this person before in their life. Mia Yim is over there mocking her. Tiffany Stratton stares down and says she's not afraid to get in the face of the baddest woman in the company. Kind of stares at Bianca a little bit, planting that little seed. Then she smacks Mia Yim and runs away, which was humorous. Tiffany Stratton then goes on to beat Mia Yim in the in-ring main event. In a botched moonsault, by the way, because Mia Yim, despite all of her years of experience, was too close to the corner. So, tear up the young girl's knees while you're at it. Here's what made me mad about Tiffany Stratton being called up to SmackDown. There was no fanfare whatsoever. No vignettes. Nothing. I could complain about Naomi too. Naomi's been around forever. But when you don't put any emphasis on these people, it makes them seem like just another person on the roster. Like bringing up Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton right after the Royal Rumble when you got tons of talent that you don't bother to use. And now you just throw them on the barbecue. We're just going to get them in the system. To me, that damages NXT because NXT could use those talents and those talent could use NXT. Why bring them up to play fifth or sixth fiddle on SmackDown? What's the point of having Tiffany Stratton on your roster and you have no main event spot for her? You don't even have a mid-card spot for her, really. She's at the lowest of the low. Mia Yim wrestles like once a month. She's barely on the show. Oh, but she's going to wrestle Bianca Belair in WrestleMania, maybe. Maybe. But who the fuck cares about that? You could have taken this time to get people invested in her. It's the same damn thing I say about Tony Khan. Take time to get people invested in her. Do the vignettes. Just run the vignettes that she did in NXT. Just run those again. You already got them in the can, right? Just run those. Just run them. I like the idea that Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are going back and forth over talent. They did this a little bit later with Braun Breaker and Jade Cargill, and each one of them is trying to court talent. I like that. But that's what you're supposed to have these vignettes for. You show vignettes for Jade Cargill and have each person put them over and how big of a deal they are and how much of a game changer they could be for their roster. Give them the pitch. But you have to make the talent seem like there's something. Only thing these people on the main roster know about Tiffany Stratton is that she came in the Royal Rumble and then she lost. They may know she wrestled Becky Lynch. They might not. But they don't know anything about this girl. So how is she going to get over? You just brought up Tyler Bate to no fanfare to be in a tag team with Pete Dunne. Now you bring up Tiffany Stratton to no fanfare to quite possibly lose to Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I don't get this. This is not how you build new stars. And I keep seeing people talk about, they got huge futures for like Trick Williams and Tiffany and Braun. And, these going to be huge main event stars. I'm looking like, really? I don't see that. If you thought somebody was going to be a main event star, you would position them as such. Not pick them in, bring them in, throw them at the bottom of the card. Now, this is a completely different thing than 20 years ago. You may say, well, John Cena didn't have to do all that. There was no NXT for John Cena. You know, if people would have saw, the Doctor of Thugonomics and, whatever existed at the time, and you saw that and you were like, man, this guy's on national TV, super over, crazy talented, and then you bring him in and he's at the bottom of the card, not doing anything. He's not put in an impact position. At the very least, John Cena was put in a position to succeed. He was put in there with Kurt Angle. He didn't win, but he was put in there with Kurt Angle, a top guy. Tiffany Stratton is put in there with goddamn Mia Yim. Who is it? She's not even a fifth string player on your roster. My goodness. This is about as bad as, well, I guess they did bring up Charlotte and she lost her first match, but this is not endearing, especially when you look at what they did to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller and all of those guys. Johnny Gargano, Tyler Bate, all these people that they brought up from NXT. And they just bring them up to the roster and they just wrestle. And that's it. And that's it. They don't go out of their way to try to make people familiar with them, to get people to care about them, to do a pointed story that matters with them. Nothing. That pissed me off so bad that they brought her up for no reason when she could still be in NXT, at the very least, making that show stronger. Why hurt NXT? For a SmackDown where you don't even do shit with Shotzi. Zelina Vega's out here every week. You don't do anything with her. You just found something to do with B-Fab and she's been sitting on that roster for almost a year. A matter of fact, probably over a year. So why add new people to a roster that you don't do anything with? And then you didn't even delete anybody. You didn't get rid of anybody to make space. I don't know. Oh, Charlotte's hurt. So what happens when Charlotte comes back? She's not gone forever. You brought Naomi back. Poor Naomi. She got brought back, and the only thing they had for her to do was come out and dance with her friends. What? Well, why not put her in an impact position? What did she come back for? To be stuck in the mid-card again. Dumb. Next, I'm finally got it out of my system. Next, Pretty Deadly, the LWO, Legado del Fantasma, and Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. This is a fatal four-way match. Apparently, they're doing a tournament, another tournament. And this time it's a fatal four-way tournament where a SmackDown team will wrestle a Raw team, and the winners will wrestle for the tag team championships. They had Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne win this match. Triple H is going to beat you over the head with this. Again, Humberto and Angel, you bring them up from NXT. What did you bring them up for NXT for? To team up with Santos Escobar. Okay, fine. They're feuding with the LWO. Okay, cool. But why do they keep losing? Why must they lose? Are you really trying to get people to buy into Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, who nobody seems to care about, who have no personality, who don't talk, who have no story whatsoever? At least Angel and Humberto has a story, because they have a thing with the LWO. They had a great vignette today where Santos talking about his heart being filled with joy and how family is unbreakable, and the Legado del Fantasma has been entrusted to carry the family legacy of and their various family legacies in Lucha Libre, and they're going to eradicate the LWO and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But then they lost. Pretty Deadly, incredibly talented guys, could be used so much better. Treated like chumps every week. There's functionally no difference between Pretty Deadly and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. There really is no difference between those two teams. They're both full of two obnoxious guys who just get their heads knocked together pretty much every week. Pretty Deadly was actually extremely entertaining in NXT. What have they done on the main roster? They've been on the main roster for months. Well, even if you delete the time that one of them was injured, they haven't done fuck all anything on this roster. And they just keep bringing in new people. They keep bringing in, this is the same shit that Tony Khan was doing. We need a fresh matchup. He's going to bring in some new guys. Fuck introducing them. Fuck trying to build stories with them. We don't care what their potential could possibly be. We're not even going to do some outside the ring stuff with them. We're just going to throw them in there and beat them every fucking week. And then we're going to be surprised that they're not over. Or that their segments lose viewers. Or that they can't sell merchandise. You're wasting these kids' bump, man. That's so unfair. Bianca Belair had a little bit of a run-in with Logan Paul backstage. She was trying to get in where she fit in on this title picture when Logan Paul was upset and wanted to know who his next opponent was going to be. They had words where Bianca just, kind of dressed him down a little bit, and Logan Paul just kind of no-sold it, which was humorous. And Nick Aldis was going to apparently pick the next opponent for Logan Paul next week, which is probably going to be that Elimination Chamber disaster. Okay. So, Io and the Kabuki Warriors are in backstage. They're laughing and joking and talking in Japanese. Then they say that Bayley is done. This is Io. Bayley is done tonight. Then they laugh, they pick up their belts, and they leave. And then you see that Bayley's in the background. She was on the other side of the wall listening, and she just kind of looked very disappointed, very upset. And this leads to the segment. Bayley challenges Io. So Bayley says that she's done it all at WrestleMania. She's won championships, tag team titles, etc. She's even hosted the show, but this year was special because she had her girls behind her. She didn't get there on her own. She said that Damage Control was supposed to be a family. And that WrestleMania is about moments. It's about making magic. It's about being the best. And to be the best, you have to beat the best. And she said, but it's not always about championships. Sometimes it's about what's in your heart. It's about proving doubters wrong. And then she turned and she spoke a little Japanese to the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky. So it's revealed that Bayley speaks Japanese. She picked up that they were making fun of her, and they've been making fun of her for months, and she wants to know why. She just wanted Damage Control to be the best. She just wanted Damage Control to be at the top of the women's division, and then she promptly got her shit kicked in by Io and the Kabuki Warriors. And then from there, Bayley picked up a pipe that she had hidden in the steps, like behind the stairs, and she fought off the Kabuki Warriors with the pipe. And she looked like she was going to hit Io with the pipe, but Io was going to defend herself or hit Bayley, I'm not sure which one, with the women's championship. Io backed down, left the ring, and then Bayley made the formal challenge to Io at WrestleMania. I absolutely hated this. Absolutely hated it. Oh, we're going to have the big reveal. Bayley speaks Japanese the entire time. She knew they were doubting her. She knew they were laughing at her and making fun of her and being mean girls. She knew the whole time. And she just let it happen. She just let it happen. Look, man. This is not how you do dramatic television. Think about what happened when Sami Zayn turned on Roman Reigns. How they dragged that thing out. How they made it so that you feel sympathetic to Sami Zayn and his position. How you wanted this to happen. Because you had seen how evil and screwed up Roman Reigns is. You've seen how evil and screwed up the bloodline is. And you see that Sami Zayn, at his core, is not that bad of a guy. There's a limit that he's going to get to. And there's certain things he just won't do. In this situation, it was an attempt to recreate, as everybody knows, the Batista, Triple H, Ric Flair thing at WrestleMania 21. That was the plan. The difference is Batista was the underling in that situation, right? He was supposed to be the guy that Triple H was grooming to be the top guy. Triple H is trying to control him. Yeah, you should go and challenge JBL. In this situation, it was Bayley's idea to fight Rhea Ripley. it was Bayley's idea to challenge for a different championship because she wanted Damage Control to have it all. The fact that Io and Asuka and all of them never believed in her. So what? Like, you booked Bayley to lose every single match for 4 fucking months. I wouldn't believe in her either. I wouldn't believe in you either. I mean, imagine you played a game. You played football and your quarterback threw 3 interceptions per game. Do you think you're going to win the Super Bowl with that quarterback? He throws 3 picks a game. You don't think you're going to win the Super Bowl. You're going to doubt that player. It'd have been one thing if Bayley was stellar and then they were just kind of like, she's not good enough. Bayley literally is a loser and they're laughing at her for being a loser. It tracks for heels, all right? She's a heel. They're heels. She's a loser, okay? I mean, of course they're going to make fun of her. There's better ways to do this. Everybody knew that Bayley was going to end up challenging Io. That's not a problem. The problem is the execution. It wasn't dramatic enough. The big reveal is that Bayley spoke Japanese. That's the big reveal. I don't care. I don't care. Now I'm saying, like, why was she sitting around letting them talk bad about her to her face like this? Why was she doing that? What was the benefit of that? How did that benefit her character? How does that make us sympathetic to Bayley where you just knew that these people were talking about you? In this situation, in the Batista situation, he suspected that Triple H and Ric Flair was scheming against him. And he caught them in the act, by listening on the other side of the wall. He caught them in the act. Here, you mean to tell me if you speak Japanese and you've known the entire time that they've been making fun of you. And it's been over a month. Way over a month. So you means that all those times where you were expecting them to help you, you knew it wasn't coming. When they got eliminated out of the Royal Rumble or whatever, you knew they weren't there to help you. So how can we feel sympathetic if you knew the entire time you were not going to get help and they were making fun of you? That destroys the idea that that you're supposed to be a partnership. You're just a fool at that point. And now you're trying to make me feel sympathetic. When in reality, it should have been blindsided. Bayley didn't see it coming. We're supposed to see it coming as the audience. Bayley's not supposed to see it coming. And then you could do any number of things to inform Bayley. One of the problems is that they wanted to be able to announce the WrestleMania matches right now. And because they want to be able to announce the WrestleMania matches right now, they didn't take the time to build the story, right? To build the drama. Who said that Bayley has to make a decision literally 6 days after winning the Royal Rumble? Why not give her some time? Let the Elimination Chamber happen. Let all these kind of things happen. Let it slid up in the air for a while. Go back and forth with it. Give her a reason why she might want to fight Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley being a little bit mouthy with her. You kind of get the idea that she might want to fight Rhea Ripley. The whole time, though, she's starting to have this schism with Io for whatever reason. If you want to do it that Io and Asuka and all them, they don't like Bayley secretly, that's fine. But milk it. Like we've already seen for months that they don't really believe in Bayley. They've kind of been laughing at her. We were building up to the end of Damage Control. And that's kind of what it was building up to. But I don't feel like this was an appropriate payoff. I think it was very, very weak. The big payoff is that Bayley speaks Japanese and knew the entire time that these girls weren't really her family. They weren't really her friends. And she was still fighting for Damage Control, knowing full well that these guys didn't like her. Why? That's literally dumb. It's literally stupid. So, I don't know. I don't get it. But if you look at all of the great heel turns throughout history, the fans see it coming. The wrestler is delusional. They don't see it coming. The Festival of Friendship, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. So many people saw it coming. Chris Jericho didn't see it coming. When, the Rockers broke up, we saw it coming. Marty Jannetty didn't see it coming. That's how you set up a surprise, In this situation, we saw it coming, and apparently Bayley saw it coming too. And you're like, okay, you've just made something that could have been, you built up 2 years of story with Damage Control, and you blew it off here. This was the big blow off for the Damage Control angle. There's no Damage Control anymore. Whatever the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky is going to be from this point forward, I guess the story now is which side is Dakota Kai on. Is she going to be on the side of Bayley, or is she going to be on the side of Io and the rest of them? Is that going to be the story for the next 2 damn months? Because that sucks. Because Dakota Kai can't wrestle. Even if she could wrestle, it sucks. Because who cares? The idea should be that Bayley is betrayed by Damage Control. And we should feel that betrayal. We should be able to see it and have a visceral, guttural reaction to it. But not only did they have Bayley be able to speak Japanese, but she planted a pipe just in case she got jumped. So that means she's literally 2 steps ahead of the heels. She's Batman all of a sudden. She's got prep time. Oh, Bayley with some prep time, she could figure it out. She beat up 3 people with prep time. What the hell? And that's before we even start talking about how Kairi Sane doesn't look like she could crack an egg with a kick. I mean, my goodness. Look at Kairi's offense. My God. My goodness. She could attack a pregnant woman and the baby would come out healthier. How in the world? How could she be like a believable fighter at all? I love Kairi Sane. I really do. She's incredibly cute. Probably a very sweet woman. But my goodness. If you had wet paper, I don't think she could move it. Her attacks look so weak. But I hated this segment. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Damage Control, so maybe that's a big knock. But to me, even if I don't like the players, if you do good dramatic television, I buy in. In this situation, I did not buy in. And I didn't buy in because I don't care. To me, it seemed like an ass pull that Bayley can all of a sudden speak Japanese. That's bullshit. If we knew that Bayley had wrestled in Japan or something like that, and maybe that was the story that, she was best friends with Io in Japan, then, she picked up some words here and there and she was able to figure it out. But Bayley has never spoken Japanese before. So you taught her Japanese just for this part of story. That's it. And that's an ass pull. I'm sorry. I can't give you credit for that. Oh, we still got some more smoke left for your boy Triple H, man. Final Testament versus Lashley and the Street Profits. And this match did not occur because everybody just wanted to fight. So they started brawling. Then Scarlett jumped on Lashley's back again. This brought out B-Fab, who joined officially now Lashley and the Street Profits. They finally figured out that they could put her with them. She looks the same. They didn't change anything about her. She still got those Poetic Justice box braids, and now they look like extended flaming hot Cheetos on the top of her head. All right, we're gonna see what B-Fab can do. I hope and pray that B-Fab has improved in the ring, but I don't really care about that. I just hope that she has better personality now, because if she's not, then you got somebody in NXT named Jada Parker who got it down pat. You could just get rid of B-Fab and bring her up, because she would fit right in with this too, and she would be amazing. But so I'm all in on giving B-Fab the chance though. But this whole thing was bullshit. All right, it was garbage. We're gonna. It was too soon for a match between these 6 guys anyway. But I'm not a big fan of. We're just gonna turn it into a generic brawl. Not a fan. And I noticed that they have not called it the Pride on television. They haven't said the Pride at all on television. At least I haven't heard it. So good. Thank God for that. They didn't call it the Pride on TV. So we're finally going to get to what you guys want to talk about. The Cody Rhodes announcement. Everybody's losing their goddamn mind. Roman Reigns comes out and then absolutely just starches Seth Rollins for 5 minutes. Just spent 5 minutes packing him the fuck up. I hate saying stuff like that because that's hood rat talk, but that's exactly what happened. He folded Seth Rollins' clothes while he was still in them. He says that, for starters, he said, my little brother Seth Rollins, the crowd didn't react one way or the other. And he said, that's right, no pop. And I was like, I was locked in from there. I just, pulled my chair like, I was in, put my seatbelt on, and we was in, baby. He starts talking about the World Heavyweight Championship, how he beat everybody who is already the World Heavyweight Champion, and everybody who wrestled for that belt. So it's the losers bracket, it's the losers division. Then he says that he's not going to be, he said that the man is running around in his wife's clothes for 2 years. So he broke his back trying to carry Raw. And he says he works 10 times less than Seth Rollins. That's true. But he also makes 10 times the money. So does Cody want Seth Rollins money or does he want Tribal Chief money? Then he says that he's not going to beg for the match like that other guy. But he's going to say this. You can either be the best number 2 or you could take a crack at number 1. This was amazing. He even did the little limp of Seth Rollins breaking his back. Does a champion walk like this? Oh, he put that nigga in the air fryer, bro. 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Cooked him on both sides, flipped him like a hamburger. Jesus. Oh, and you know what? If you'd asked me about 6 years ago who my favorite wrestler on the roster was, I probably would have said Seth Rollins. This is before they did the man's man and all that shit, right? I probably would have said Seth Rollins. But this year in particular, and these last couple of weeks in particular, this night in particular, specifically, they did a video package where Seth Rollins cut a promo saying, do you want to be like the Ultimate Warrior? Do you want to be like Nature Boy Ric Flair? Do you want to be like Sid? Or do you want to be like Terry Funk? Do you want to be like Hulk Hogan? Or do you want to be like Dusty Rhodes? And I said, boy, ain't a goddamn thing wrong with the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior, Sid, Hogan, all 3 absolute units, heroes, and they fucking rule. What are you saying? What are you on, you dork? This is when Seth Rollins crawled very, very slowly into the dork division. He's a dork. There's just no way people feel how they feel about Hulk Hogan personally. But to diss Hulk Hogan, a guy who ran the business for 10 years and then made it 20 by jumping ship to another company, turning heel and doing it again, the Ultimate Warrior? You gonna diss the Ultimate Warrior who is a hero to hundreds of millions of children? Are you serious? Sid he rules so hard. And you got this sanctified, unsanitized fucking dork talking about, do you want to be like the Ultimate Warrior? Like, are you fucking, yes, actually I do. As a matter of fact, I want to be like Ultimate Warrior. Yes, absolutely. Do you not know how much merchandise he sold? Did you not see the buildings were full when the Ultimate Warrior was coming out there, right? I mean, come the fuck on. If you were going to do something like this, then maybe you should have found less deserving guys. Maybe you should have picked like Jinder Mahal. Now, I still probably would say you a dork because you're attacking Jinder Mahal. But he's a vulnerable guy that might be a little bit questionable. There are some guys that you might be able to say is a little bit questionable. Maybe you could have said Bradshaw. Maybe a little questionable. I think Bradshaw was very good, if we're being honest. But questionable. Not everybody's favorite. It's a safe target. Bradshaw is not going to get a lot of defenders. But Warrior, Hogan, and Sid? No way. No. Seth, bye. Beat it. No. No. Putting yourself in the same class as Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and Dusty Rhodes? No. I know it's his character. I know it's a gimmick. I get it. But no. This is 100% lame, dirty Mac horseshit. This is Triple H trying to get people to buy into that the WWF is bullshit. And guys like the Ultimate Warrior are not what world champions are supposed to be. He grew up an NWA fan. Now, I know that a lot of people, and we saw is people posting Jon Moxley's book where he dissed Terry Funk. He did. Triple H apparently didn't like how Terry Funk worked or whatever, and had some negative things to say about Terry Funk, and then Jon Moxley defended him. So there's apparently some stuff there. But for the most part, Triple H is an NWA, Ric Flair, Harley Race. Maybe he wasn't a huge fan of Terry Funk, but Harley Race, he modeled himself after Harley Race when he was doing the Evolution thing. Of course, he had Ric Flair in his corner. He grew up watching that stuff. He books similarly to what they were doing in the Territory era. He picks his champions and who he's going to put on television based off of in-ring skill and not who's actually over and drawing money and has charisma. This idea that he's using Seth Rollins as a sounding board, where you hear Triple H bullshit opinions coming out of Seth Rollins. Like, do you want to be like the Ultimate Warrior? And I just sat there, bro. I was like, I can't believe that this guy works in this company and is denigrating these guys. Like, this fucking company wouldn't exist without WrestleMania 6. Like, are you serious? These dudes are responsible for so many people's childhoods. This business wouldn't be what it is without guys like Sid and Ultimate Warrior. No way. I don't believe Seth Rollins truly believes that. But now his character has gone into complete dork territory. And now that he even got spit roasted by Roman, thumbs up. The tribal chief, I acknowledge you. Seth Rollins, go bye-bye. Bye. Beat it. I have no interest in what you're doing now. Don't care no more. Now let's get into the thing that got everybody all upset. Okie doke. Okie dokie. Cody Rhodes. He comes out there. He talks about taking some counsel. He talked to some people. He listened to Seth Rollins. He says that he had Roman beat. He knows he did. And Roman knows he did. He said he disagrees with Rollins about this being the Hollywood title. He said this is the belt that Bruno held. This is the belt that was in my father's hands that was taken away from him. I want that title. And then he says, what is finishing the story? He says, is it taking that championship, or is it taking everything away from Roman Reigns? Everything. And he says, yes, he's coming for Roman, but not at WrestleMania. And then he says, one of the people that he talked to was this man, and out comes The Rock. And The Rock and Roman stared at each other in the ring after The Rock shook hands with Cody and they hugged. And I think a little bit of color left Cody's face. I think there was a little light from his eyes, a little bit. I think he kind of looked and was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't. It's like a scratch. Like, shh. Hi, I'm Cody Rhodes. And I bet you're wondering how I got here. Yeah, I am wondering how you got here. And so they slow rolled Roman and The Rock meeting in the middle of the ring, staring at each other. Nobody said anything, and it went off the air. The internet then proceeded to collapse in itself as people are upset that Cody Rhodes will not be main eventing WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. Now people are saying that Cody Rhodes is going to challenge Roman, but it's going to be in goddamn September when he passes Hulk Hogan. I'm like, why? Who told you that? Where did that come from? Everybody thinks that Cody Rhodes is now saying he doesn't want this title. He's going to challenge Seth Rollins. He didn't say that. In fact, he said the opposite. He wants to fight Roman Reigns, just not at WrestleMania. They're doing it in Australia. They're doing it in Saudi Arabia. That's where they're going. They're not doing it at WrestleMania. They're going to do it either before or they're going to do it after. But they're not waiting until September. Who the fuck is going to hold their, like it's a Money in the Bank or something like that, it's going to hold my WrestleMania match? No. We have seen guys get bumped from WrestleMania before. We've seen, I think John Cena once won the Royal Rumble and then used his championship match at the February pay-per-view. I believe that was the match where he wrestled Randy Orton and Randy Orton slapped the referee or something like that. Wasn't that the match? And ended up not happening. In what was, prior to this, one of the dumbest booking decisions in the world, where you had John Cena versus Randy Orton at the February pay-per-view. I forget what it was called. Was it No Way Out? Because I don't think there was an Elimination Chamber yet. And Randy Orton got intentionally disqualified, and then John Cena proceeded to not get a rematch, which was really stupid. Really stupid. But they did all of that so Triple H could still wrestle Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Here, they're going to do something similar. Again, Cody's story is winning the title. It doesn't necessarily have to happen at WrestleMania. It could happen before, or it could happen afterwards. Is Roman going to wrestle in Australia? Well, he wasn't promoted before, but card subject to change. If this is what decision that they decided to make, then they're going to send Cody and Roman to Australia to do the title switch. And they'll just do it there. I don't know when the Saudi shows are. I don't think the Saudi show is between now and WrestleMania. So it'll probably be afterwards at some point. But they also have Backlash in France. And maybe they do the title switch there. But the idea that Cody is going to challenge Seth Rollins, I don't know where that came from. Because he didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. Now, you can be upset, because you should rightfully be upset, that a man won the Royal Rumble and will not main event WrestleMania for reasons that are unclear. It is unclear why The Rock versus Roman Reigns has to be at WrestleMania, outside of the fact that it's The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and it's probably the biggest possible match that they could do right now. And the WrestleMania brand means that you do it right now. Cody just needs to win the title. That's all. The idea that Cody is not going to win the title at WrestleMania, some people are coping. They're coping hard. That Cody could possibly win it on night 1 and Roman and Rock are wrestling night 2. And I say, look, you don't know Roman Reigns. If you think he's wrestling back-to-back nights, forget it. If you think that, it's far more likely that Roman's going to lose the belt before WrestleMania than he will lose it wrestling twice at WrestleMania. Okay, just not likely. Now, what's the likelihood that Roman Reigns versus The Rock happens before Roman Reigns versus Cody? Is it possible that The Rock goes against Roman? Obviously, Roman's going to win. Any other outcome shits on the roster if The Rock can beat him. And of course, it craps all over Cody, who eventually will have to beat Roman for the belt because, well, The Rock already beat him. Similar to when Lex Luger already beat Hulk Hogan before Sting beat him. So I would think that the finish to The Rock and Roman is not within question. I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns goes over. But Roman Reigns does not need to be the champion for that match. It just doesn't need to happen. Now, when it comes to finishing the story, if you listen to the promo, Cody says that finishing the story, what he's trying to do is make it a double entendre. He's trying to make him finish his story, but also finish Roman's story too. And Roman's story is that of the bloodline, the head of the table. You know, he's the reason why this family is at this level and all this sort of thing. It runs natural to him having to face the greatest member of his family, being The Rock. If you listen to the story that Cody told, taking everything from Roman is the goal, not just winning the championship. He wants the title, he wants the championship, but he also wants to take everything from Roman. And what that means is he has to take his family away. He has to take his position away. And how do you do that? You introduce The Rock, who reasserts himself as the head of the table, the head of the Anoa'i family. They fight for it. Apparently, Roman's got to win. Because if The Rock's going to win, then you need to give the belt to Cody before that happens. All right? And then, once he has no bloodline to fight, to side with him, and Roman's all alone, then Cody can beat him for the belt. That seems to be where they're going with this, is they want to deplete the bloodline first, and then have Cody beat Roman in a simple one-on-one match without Jimmy Uso, without Solo, and without the thing of The Rock dangling over their heads. I personally would have done it much differently. There were some suggestions that The Rock is going to do a segment in Australia, as where they said it might be like a Grayson Waller effect or something like that, and he's going to be there. At that point, I would just have The Rock referee the Roman Cody match, just like he did at WrestleMania 27. The Rock referees the match. He's fair. He, knocks out Solo, knocks out Jimmy, bans them from ringside or whatever, and then Cody wins the belt. Roman blames The Rock for him losing the title, and he attacks The Rock, beats him up. That sets up the big match at WrestleMania. That's kind of how I would have done it. Or maybe you set it up, again, similar to WrestleMania 27, where Cody would have won the title at WrestleMania with a little bit of The Rock's help, not a lot of help, but with enough help for Roman to blame him, and then we did this match at 41. But since they're doing it at 40, it can only be assumed that they're not going to keep Cody off the card. And it's almost certain that Cody is not going to use his Royal Rumble match to wrestle Seth Rollins. If that's the case, then Triple H is the worst booker of all time. And I wouldn't say he's the worst of all time, because, again, there is precedent to this, with John Cena challenging for the title a full, 2 months early, and then ended up in a triple threat match at WrestleMania, which was pure stupidity. But this would be pretty bad, too. Now, there's another precedent, Royal Rumble 1997, where Stone Cold Steve Austin won the Royal Rumble. He didn't wrestle at WrestleMania either. He got bumped out of that spot. He had to wrestle Bret the Hitman Hart. He wrestled Undertaker and his promised title shot the next month at Cold Day in Hell, which I believe was in either late April or May of 1997. So it's not set in stone. People do manipulate things for better storytelling. You could have had Sid versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. That could have ruled. That could have been great, if we're being honest. But Stone Cold probably would have lost. He ended up losing the Undertaker anyway. But the idea was they had a better, bigger, better story for him. And that was to wrestle Bret Hart. It wasn't his time to be the champion yet. They wanted to give him the big win of winning the Royal Rumble, but they didn't want to put the belt on him yet. So he was going to go into WrestleMania and he was going to lose. But instead of losing to the champion, he lost to somebody else and his hated enemy, Bret the Hitman Hart, in the match that made him famous. Here, I don't think Cody has any other options. Who else could he possibly wrestle at WrestleMania? I have no idea. I don't see them pulling Cody, Seth Rollins. That would suck. That would be dumb. Punk is out. And maybe that's why this is happening now, even though I don't think so. But this is a huge issue with Cody Rhodes now sitting on the bench for WrestleMania. Unless something occurs between now and then, Cody Rhodes doesn't even have an opponent for WrestleMania. Who are you going to bring in for Cody to wrestle? You don't have anybody. Right? You don't have anybody. You don't have anything for this fucking guy. Is he going to wrestle Drew McIntyre? Is that the plan? Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania? It'd be great for Drew, but that fucking sucks for Cody. That fucking sucks for Cody. That's not even a good consolation prize. So, I don't know what you do. To me, I would not have done it this way. I understand why people are super angry, but ultimately, I laughed. I laughed at how Cody stood there and coughed up his championship match, and there was no explanation as to why he did it. So I am one of those people that's saying, let's let it play out. There's 2 months between now and then. But I don't see how this could play out in a way that makes Cody look intelligent. The only thing I can think of is that The Rock is going to splinter the family and cause all these problems. And it's going to end up isolating Roman. So Roman has to actually fight his battles by himself. Because, the elders are going to turn on him and all this kind of stuff. And it's finally going to be the end of the bloodline story. Which is what people want. People have been wanting the bloodline story to end, and people thought the bloodline story ending means Roman losing the belt. But the end game was Roman and The Rock, which I never thought was going to happen. So I'm not angry that we're going to get Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I like that idea. That's going to be huge. That's going to be money, 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 money. My issue is it's very unfortunate for Cody, where he's going to have to probably wrestle Drew McIntyre, who is far down on the card, in a match that's not going to mean anything. Because why the fuck would he wrestle Drew McIntyre? What? Why? And I feel like that's a match that should happen on Raw or something. That's a Raw main event. That's my deal. But it's an interesting scenario because Seth Rollins is also without an opponent due to CM Punk's injury. Do you have Cody Rhodes wrestle Seth Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania? That would be dumb. That would be dumb. It's so dumb, in fact, that I hope it happens. Because everybody who wanted Triple H booking, this is what you get. And it's worse than Vince. It's worse than Vince. Because there's no backup plan. At least Vince would have tried to throw together a backup plan. There's no backup plan here. There's nothing else for you to do. If he's not wrestling Roman, who is he fighting? Gunther? No. Nope. This doesn't make sense. Now, a lot of people are watching the show. We're not watching the show. And again, thinking that Cody says, I'm taking that title from you, but I'm going to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. No, he didn't say that. He never said that. He said he wanted to fight him, just not at WrestleMania. That gives you the opportunity to do it before or to do it after. And I don't know why he would want to do it before or after, but I guess they tried to explain it with Cody saying that he wants to take everything away from Roman. I guess that's the explanation that they were looking for. That's the best he's going to be able to get. Now, I don't know. There's so much up in the air. There's people saying that CM Punk is still going to be able to make it to WrestleMania and he's going to be in the main event. It's not going to happen. I guess it's possible he can make it to WrestleMania. But Cody versus Punk, that's a huge match. But why? Why? When you've been setting up Punk versus Seth all this time? Why go with Punk and then who does Seth wrestle? That's the like who does Seth wrestle if Punk can wrestle and he's wrestling Cody? Then who does Seth wrestle then? Where are you gonna fall? How far are you gonna go down the card looking for somebody for Seth Rollins to wrestle? I mean, oh boy, we're in that same position again. We're in the same position that Seth was in 2 years ago, when he's one of the top guys in the company, but everybody else is already paired off, and he's just kind of standing there. Except for now, he's a dork with a title in women's clothes now. So we're sitting here watching this guy who's got a bad knee, a bad back, a world title, and no opponent. Oh my God. Is it going to be Damian Priest? I'm going to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I'm going to cash in Senior Money in the Bank. Yeah, right. No. So, assuming Rock versus Roman happens at WrestleMania, and that Rock versus Cody is not happening at Elimination Chamber, assuming that CM Punk can wrestle, then the idea may be Cody Punk on night 1, Rock Roman night 2. Who does Seth wrestle? What's that look like? Is it Sami Zayn maybe? I don't know. Gunther perhaps? Title for title? See who the real workhorse champion is? IC belt versus the World Heavyweight title? I guess. You got Drew McIntyre. He's just sitting there too without an opponent. I don't know. There's a lot of intriguing things that's happening. And the company is, they pulled Brock, I guess, from the shows. And Punk is injured. So now they have to try to makeshift the show. And they're suffering from injuries on all sides because, Charlotte's injured. And there's probably some injuries on the girls' division too. But you should have planned better. Should have been better planning. And you should have had a bigger eye on the prize. Now everybody is freaking out. But I'm not going to freak out because I don't take this that seriously. I don't understand why Cody won the Royal Rumble if the plan was to do The Rock versus Roman. Then Punk should have won the Rumble. Even if Punk knew he was injured, he still should have won the Rumble because you didn't know how bad it was. So you still and if he can wrestle at WrestleMania, then he most certainly should have won at the Royal Rumble. And then you still have the Elimination Chamber show. Because what are the Elimination Chamber matches going to be? Is one of them going to be for the world title? Or are they going to do that for the U.S. belt or the Intercontinental belt? Like, what are they doing? One of them has to be for the women's belt, right? Or the women's number 1 contendership. Adam Pearce told Bianca Belair that they're working on an opponent for Rhea Ripley or Io or whatever. Because it was assumed that Bayley was going to wrestle Rhea Ripley. So now you can assume that since Bayley is not wrestling Rhea Ripley, she's wrestling Io. So now you can believe and buy into that the women's Elimination Chamber match is going to be a Raw match to figure out who's wrestling Rhea Ripley. Likewise, the Elimination Chamber match is also going to be a Raw match to figure out who's going to wrestle Seth Rollins. So the SmackDown Championship matches are already set on the men's side and the women's side. That's already set. Well, technically, The Rock and Roman is not a championship match. Cody and Roman is the championship match, but it ain't happening at WrestleMania. It might happen before then. It might happen after. But Roman is occupied, so you could just forget it. It's not the Royal Rumble winner, but the Elimination Chamber winner can't challenge Roman either because he's busy. So the SmackDown, the 2 top champions on SmackDown are taken care of. Do you have an Elimination Chamber match for the U.S. belt or to see who's going to wrestle the U.S. champion? Because that seems kind of goofy and it seems a little bit above what you would do for the U.S. title. I know they did an Elimination Chamber match for the Intercontinental Championship once. That was intriguing for the time. I don't know if they would do that now. So there's some interest going forward here. But the internet having an absolute meltdown, a lot of it comes from the mystery of we don't know what's going to happen. And therefore, people are speculating. Well, anything is possible in the WWF. Anything's possible, for the most part. But it really cooked my goose to see Cody give up his championship match with like little to no argument. He just says, I want to fight you, but not at WrestleMania. Like, wait a minute. Well, then when? And I'm guessing that's going to be the big surprise, is he's going to pop up and say maybe next week when the date will be. But Rock doesn't need to fight Ramo for the belt. It just doesn't need to happen. But let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later.